Hey everyone, welcome back to Top Data Coach. I am Nidhi Patel and today we are diving into one of the most crucial concepts in SQL, joins. This is the 10th and final session of our free SQL course and I'm so excited to wrap it up with a bang. If you have enjoyed learning with me so far, stay tuned until the end for a special invitation to continue your SQL journey with our Top Data Coach paid plan. But first, let's get into retrieving data from multiple tables. As I said earlier, today we'll explore different types of joins. So what exactly is a join in SQL? Simply put, joins allow you to retrieve data from two or more tables in a single query. The clause provides a structure for connecting the data from multiple tables, letting you specify which tables to join and under what conditions to join them. Think of it as a connecting the dots between different data sets to get the complete picture. Like foreign key, which I had explained in my previous session. If you want to learn about primary key and foreign key, go ahead and watch my previous session on that. Coming back to joins, to connect different data sets together, you can use the join clause, which you can include in your select, delete or update queries. Now the question is, why do we need joins? MySQL databases usually store large amounts of data. To analyze that data efficiently, analysts and DBAs, that is database administrators, have a constant need to extract records from two or more tables based on certain conditions. That's where joins come to the aid. MySQL supports the following type of join clauses: inner join, outer join, and cross join. Outer joins can further be divided into left join and right join. We'll start with inner join. Inner joins are used to fetch only common matching records. Let's understand this with a diagram. As shown in the screen, inner join clause allows you to retrieve only those records from table A and table B which is satisfying the join condition. This is the most widely used type of join, inner join. The syntax is as shown on the screen, where you have to mention the columns from both the tables which you would like to display after select. Then from table A, then comes the inner join keyword, table B on. Now here we have to mention the common key field, which is responsible for inner join. Let us understand this with example. Now for today's join session, I am going to use two different tables other than our world database, because the world database is having very large amount of data, right? And when we are performing joins on those tables, the outcome will be even more than that. So it will be really difficult for us to understand the output. So I am going to use a different database today for the demonstration, which is having two tables, users and user profile. So these are the two tables which I am talking about. The user table is having the field user ID, name, password, the date of creation for user, and if the user is active or not. Whereas the user profile table is having the field like profile ID. It is also having the user ID, the details of user like first name, last name, email ID and phone. Now, just assume that this is a database which is maintained by some website, right, for their users who is having account on their website. Now, if suppose some user is trying to log in and the user has forgotten the password, so by clicking on forgot password link, the website now needs to send an OTP, one-time password, to the email ID. So at that time, what we need is the email ID, but the email ID should be of the username which is entered by the user. So now this is one of the situation where I need the data from user table and also from the user profile table. So now let us perform the join over here. Select. Now from the user table I need a username. So users dot username. Now if you can see that I have not written down the column name simply, I have used table name dot column name. This is a practice because sometimes what happens is both the tables might have same column name, and at that time the SQL will get confused because the column name is ambiguous, which column has to be used. So to avoid that situation, whenever you are applying joins, you should have the habit of writing it that way, table name dot column name. Even if it is a unique name, still you should have that habit. Now coming back to username, from the first table, table A, and my second table, table B, is user profile, and from that I need email. So here user profile dot email. Now once done writing all the columns, you can add more than that. You have to write down from. Now as I mentioned earlier, table A is users table, so from users, then comes inner join. Now comes table B, user profile on, and now I have to mention the condition, that is users dot, now the common field is user ID, so I have to use it. User ID, users dot user ID equals to table B, user profile dot user ID, and that completes my query. So there is only one record which is common into both of this, and that is with the ID 1, right? In the users table we have the user ID 1246, whereas in user profile we have the user ID 1357. So that there is only one column value, that is 1, and for which my username is admin. Now here I have only fetched the column which are common, but some of you might have caught it that based on my situation I have to find out the email ID for the given user. So in that case I have to add the where clause after this on. Okay, so now let's do it. I'm selecting the same field from users, inner join. Now here instead of giving semicolon, now I'll be using the where clause. So where users dot username equals to say admin and semicolon. Okay, so this is how I can get it, the email ID for the given username, and this is the simplest form of inner join. I hope it is clear to you. Okay, so now let us move on to our next join, that is outer join. In contrast to inner joins, outer joins return not only the matching rows, but it will also return non-matching ones as well. In case there are non-matching rows in a join table, the null values will be shown for them. Okay, now this is gonna be a bit confusing right now because you will get like what null values, where they come from. So don't worry, let's understand this one by one. As I told you previously, the outer joins are having two types, left join and right join. So let's start with left join. So left join allows you to retrieve all the records from table A along with those records from table B which satisfies the join condition. As you can see in the figure on the screen, that table A is your left table, the first table, and table B is your right table, the second table. So left join is giving you all the records of table A plus the common records which are satisfying the join condition. Now let's apply the left join. Okay, now let's write down the query. Select. Now when you are applying joins, as I said in the previous example, you have to write down columns in a format table name dot column. Now if you are fetching more number of columns from both the tables, then what happens is writing the table name again and again becomes very tedious and you might make some typing mistakes, right? So to avoid all that scenarios, we use alias names. If you remember, I have explained about alias name in one of my previous sessions. You can watch that. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to use T1 as my alias name for the first table, that is user table. So T1.username, comma T2 as the alias name for my second table, that is user profile. So I'm going to write down the column name like this, T1.username, comma T2.email. Now I'll mention the username, the table name users, and I'll give the alias name as T1. Then I have to write down left join. Then I'm going to write down my second table, user profile. Now here I'll give my alias name as T2. So this is how you write down the alias names while applying joins. Now here I'm gonna write down the condition T2 dot user ID, T1 dot user ID is equals to T2 dot user ID. So you can see that the query has become very much simpler when I'm using the alias names compared to the previous query where I wrote the whole table names, right? How many of you are agreeing with me? Do mention in the comment. Let's see the output here. Now as you can see, we got 4 records which are obviously more than the first one and only one record which we got as the common record while we performed the inner join in the previous query. Now here we got 4 records. The first one is the common record, right, which is common in both the table users and user profile. Now the remaining 3 rows are from the table 1, that is my users table. Okay, and because these 3 records are not having any related data into table 2, we do not have any email ID for these 3 usernames, and hence the value in the column email ID is null. So this is what I was telling you when I said that if there are no values, you will be shown null. So I hope left join is clear to you. Now same, let us apply right join. So same way I'm using the right join, T1.username, T2.email from users as T1. Now here I have to write down right join second table user profile as T2, and here I'm going to write down my condition T1 dot user ID equals to T2 dot user ID. Now here you can see that again I'm getting 4 records, but now this time because the records are from table 2, we do not have username for this user email IDs, and hence the username field is having value null. Okay, so this is the difference between left join and right join. As you can see in the figure, right join gives you all records from table 2, that is second table, and the common records from table 1, which is meeting the join condition. Okay, so I hope both left and right join, that is outer join, is clear to all of you. Try out all these joins and let me know if you have any doubts in the comment section. Moving on to the last and final type of join, that is cross join. Cross join, which is also known as Cartesian join, retrieves all combination of rows from each table. So in this type of join, the results that is returned by multiplying each row of table 1 with each row in table 2 as shown in the figure. And if no additional condition is introduced, then it is going to be the multiplication simply. Okay, now let's understand this by an example. So select T1 dot username comma T2 dot email from users as T1. Now here I have to write down cross join second table, that is user profile, as T2 on T1 dot user ID equals to T2 dot user ID. Okay, because I have given this condition, it is returning only 1. If I don't give that condition, you can see I am getting all the matching multiplication possibilities. This Lexus username with the first email ID, second email ID, third email ID, and fourth email ID. Same way, the second username with all 4 user IDs, third username with all 4 user IDs. So it is 4 into 4, total 16 rows, total cross. That is why Cartesian join. This is how cross join works. I hope it is clear to you. To recap, in today's session we covered inner join, left join, right join, and cross join. Each of these joins has a unique purpose, and mastering them is a key to writing efficient SQL queries. MySQL joins are very helpful because they are very effective. They give less load on the MySQL server, and at the same time they increase the speed of execution as well. If you have made it this far, congratulations! You have completed the free SQL course here on Top Data Coach, and now you are all set to get the certificate from Top Data Coach. What you have to do for that? Simply visit our website Top Data Coach and apply for the SQL certification. You have to appear for an examination and clear the exam to get the certificate for you. All the best for the same. And if you are eager to dive deeper and become a true SQL expert, we would love for you to join us in the Top Data Coach paid plan. We'll explore advanced topics, real world projects, and so much more. Thank you so much for learning with me. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to stay updated. I'll be posting various YouTube shorts on the same SQL. I'm Nidhi Patel and I can't wait to see you in the next chapter of your data journey. Until then, happy querying!